So you're looking to lose some weight, which means we need to get into a calorie deficit. Now, most people when they go to get in a calorie deficit, they just cut out a load of food, which normally makes them pretty miserable, constantly hungry, and sooner or later we're gonna break and go back to our old eating habits. However, there is another way to do this. Instead of cutting back the volume of food that we consume, we can actually make some smart swaps, which means that we go for foods that may have the same amount of volume, if not more, but the calories are less. And if we do that, we can actually consume the same volume of food, if not slightly more, at a reduced calorie level, meaning that we get to still feel full, but we get to lose that weight as well. So today I'm going to take you through 10 of my favorite smart swaps, as I like to call them, which means they're going to be lower in calories. Some of them are going to be higher in protein, which is going to help fill us up and hit that all important protein target for the day. And I'm going to take you through the calories for both options. We're going to work out exactly how much we can save without actually sacrificing the volume of food that you're consuming. Let's get into the video and move on to swap number one. And this is a really simple one for most people and a big calorie saver. Now, when a lot of people cook, we use a lot of oils. Now, I'm taking this one as an example, which is a rapeseed oil. Now, if we look at the stats and the numbers on this, per tablespoon, so 15 ml, not a lot of oil, probably one glug, let's be honest, we're topping in at 124 calories. That's quite a lot of calories. But if we smart swap that over to a 1 cal spray, it's 1 calorie per spray. Put 5 of these in a pan, that is a massive amount of calories saved, like 119 calories saved. Now, you can take this one step further and ditch the oils totally and just use a non-stick pan a lot of the time. One side note that I do want to put on this though is certain food swaps that we're going to be making, taking things like rapeseed oils, cooking oils, things like that out of what we use is going to reduce our overall fat intake, and we do want to make sure that we are still hitting a minimum of 20% of our calories coming from good quality fats. We need it for our hormone production and things like that, so you really don't want to mess with that. Oils, let's move on to another one in the fats category, which is cheeses. And we've got cheddar, everyone's favorite, let's be honest. Per serving, 30 grams, 125 calories. Now, if we switch over to the EatLean cheese, it's basically like a version of cheddar, but it is reduced calories. We are looking per 100 grams, this is in 169 calories versus 416. That is a massive reduction in calories, and also this is higher in protein, which again is going to help keep us fuller. So again, just by smart swapping, we are saving a ridiculous amount of calories with the cheese. Moving on to condiments. Now, I want to give an example here as well, because a lot of people, they look at the bulk of the food that they consume, but what we don't look is the extra stuff we put on it. So like our tomato sauce. Now, this one is the reduced fat and sugar one, but this comes in per 100 grams at 61 calories. Whereas if we go for the skinny dips tomato sauce, we're coming in at 34 calories. So again, this is already a reduced tomato sauce. This is not the standard tomato sauce that you get off the shelf, the reduced salt and sugar. This one is still so much lower, and it's gonna taste pretty much the same. However, if you look at just the calories that we've saved so far, you know, we're topping up towards another meal here. So if we take condiments out of it, we can also go on to things like syrups. People like to add syrups to all sorts, especially if we're going with our protein pancakes. We're going to add my favourite, maple syrup. Now, if you look at this for a tablespoon, 54 calories. Go over to the EatLean syrup, per tablespoon, 10 gram serving, we're looking at, yeah, pretty much 0 calories. You know, you're gonna get the same pretty much taste. You know, yes, maple syrup's probably gonna taste a little bit nicer than this one, let's be honest. But if you really wanna dial back your calories by making a few simple swaps like this, you are going to be able to dial them back and chip away throughout the day, and this can lead to massive, massive results. And for anybody that's out there saying, well, you know, it's only a few calories here and there, what is it, an extra 100 calories a day? If you are 100 calories over your maintenance target every day for 365 days, do the maths on how many calories that is you are over. And if you're over, your body's going to store that as fat, and you are going to get bigger and bigger, which is not what you want. So even 100 calories a day, it all adds up. Let's move on to wraps. Who doesn't love a wrap for lunch? I love a wrap for lunch. Yeah, so let's take the mission wraps, for example. So these ones, wheat and white, because they're just the ones that I picked up. And if we look at per wrap, 182 calories. Now, if you're like me, you're gonna want 2 wraps for lunch. 182 calories times 2. That adds up pretty quick, and that's just the wrap that's holding all the good stuff together. But we can move over to something like this, which are low dough bases. Now, these can be used for lots of different things. You can use them as a wrap. You can also use them as a pizza base, all sorts. You know, it fills you up, but this is gonna come in at, for 1 wrap, you are looking at 39 calories. 39 versus what, 182. That's one hell of a calorie saving. You know, you're gonna be saving like over 300 calories just in the wraps that you have for lunch. Like I say, it's just about making a few swaps, not having to cut out massive meals. So next, let's move on to one of my favorites, which is yogurts. Now, we can go for, I'm just picking on my other half, who's got a lovely indulgent caramel layered yogurt. So we're looking at 252 calories in this yogurt, just in this yogurt. Whereas if we switch over to this one, higher protein yogurt, and we look at how much per pot, 142 calories. Plus, we're gonna get a lot more protein from this, which again, like I always say, the protein, you need to be hitting your protein target every day, but also protein is gonna help keep you fuller for longer. It's gonna help fill you up. So again, same size, same volume. These taste amazing. I have them pretty much every day, and you're gonna save well over 100 calories a pot. Plus, you're getting more protein, which is a double win. Another staple in most people's weekly food shop is our rice. And we're gonna pick up the Basmati rice because this is one of the standard rices that I'll go for. Now, if we look at the calories for this, for half a pack, we're talking 168 calories for this. However, what we can do is move over to BareNaked rice, and we can switch that to 15 calories. Half a pack, 15 calories. You know, the rice is something that you put everything else on. You are not gonna notice the difference. The only difference you're gonna notice is the massive amount of calories that you're saving. And again, just so everyone knows, like most of this haul I've got from Tesco's. There is a couple of bits that I have got online which I will share with you. So the low dough bases so far, I've got these online. I'll put all of the links in the description. But what I'm trying to show you is you don't have to just cut out a ton of meals to hit your calorie deficit. You can do it just making some of these smarter swaps. The other options that you've got, if you want to go even crazier, you've got full green. So this is riced cauliflower. So, you know, getting more veg in, you can mix this sort of stuff in with stuff. And then we can move on, so a bit similar to rice, let's look at our noodles. So again, udon noodles. So per portion, 150 grams, 190 calories, 190. So, BareNaked noodles, switching over for a portion, 15 calories. 15 calories, it's a big saving again. You can also go a little bit higher in calories and higher in protein if you want, and go for the high protein options if you need to up your protein intake a little bit more. But again, portion size, you are not sacrificing anything. But what you have the option here to do is you can stick with the same portion size at a much reduced calories, but what it actually affords you if you are feeling hungrier, you could consume the whole packet of this and you're still gonna be putting yourself in to a deficit compared to this. So it means that you can help keep yourself fuller. And if you remain fuller and you're not hungry all the time, that is going to lead to you being able to stick to what you're trying to do, which means that you're going to be able to last long term. It's not going to be a short term flash in the pan. Another one of my favorites as a cheeky snack is a jelly. Now, this is a tiny pot of strawberry jelly, and this comes in at 59 calories, which most people are thinking, well, it's only 59 calories, it's not that big a deal. But when I can go to this bigger pot and it's 10 calories and it tastes pretty much the same, what is the point in us taking that extra 49 calories from this when we can spend that on something else? So again, you know, here we show with much less calories, much more volume, and the volume is what is going to fill us up and keep us fuller for longer. So for those of you that like fizzy drinks, you know, I've got my old personal favorite here, Fanta. And if we look at this, this is a 500ml bottle and they still put it in 250ml. So it's a joke, but so we've got to double it. But if you look at that, 48 calories for half of this. So 48 calories for half of it. You know, it's nearly 100 calories for the bottle. Whereas if you just move over to the Fanta with 0 sugar, again, for half a bottle, we're talking 8 calories. So you're talking about just under 100 calories versus about 15. It's a massive difference for the same thing. So make sure, and also for those of you running around going, artificial sugars is going to cause cancer, there's no research to support that. You know, there isn't. So if you're worried about that, you shouldn't. The benefit that you have with the sweetened versions and using sweetener and things, you are going to save a massive amount on calories, you know. But for people that really enjoy a fizzy drink, if you just try and cut this out of your life altogether, you're just making your life hard for no real reason. Just stick to the 0 sugar versions. Okay, and I'm going to give you another example with sauces, because this is where a lot of calories seem to creep in as well. Is we're doing a curry or something like that. I've just picked this up off the shelf randomly. I haven't really looked at it, but for half a jar, we're looking at 130 calories. So 130 calories in this jar of curry sauce. But if we look at this one, we're coming in around about 77 calories. So again, if we look at 77 calories, 130 calories, yeah, we're halving our calories again, and we're not going to be sacrificing the taste here, which is most important, because if you try and eat stuff that tastes like cardboard, you are not going to stick to it long term. If you try and maintain your calorie deficit by just chopping out a load of food compared to what you'd normally eat, you are going to constantly end up hungry, and it's going to be very, very hard for you to maintain that long term. However, if you were to total up the savings that you've got in here, which I think just for fun I might do and put it in the description, it is a massive amount of savings, but we are not sacrificing on the food. In fact, what I've shown is that you can actually consume the whole packet of this versus a packet of noodles there, or half a packet of noodles, shall I say. So you're consuming more volume of food, yet you're still getting a massive calorie saving. So these are my 10 go-to calorie swaps. I'm going to put the links down in the description and the full list, so we can kind of total it up and you'll be able to see a very quick comparison of where they come in at. But I'd love to know, let me know in the comments, have you tried any of these alternatives? What did you think? As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, consider subscribing to the channel. You'll get notified as soon as I release new content, which will help make your fat loss journey even easier. And I will see you in the next video.